This week's tip takes us back to our childhood and the story of the three little bears and how to use that approach in our meetings. We have so many meetings at work, and our calendars are just overloaded with meetings on top of meetings back to back. And what I've found is, a lot of times, the attendance list grows as the agenda evolves. People just keep getting added, and there's people who are spectators who don't say anything. And the more people get added, the more chaotic the meetings get, right? They become more complex, they're higher cost, and focus definitely goes down. And many times it includes attendees who don't even need to be there, as I talked about, they're spectators. And especially offsites, right? Offsites become enormous. Every time you do it, you get, if you plan them, you always get the FOMO people and the people who want to show up and the what about me and don't forget this person. And a lot of times we don't really step back and say, well, do we have the right people? So we're going to use the three little bears method to fix that. There's really four considerations when thinking about who to attend in meetings. First is cost, right? And think about this, and there's several types of cost, right? There's opportunity cost, which means attendees in the meeting are not doing productive things, right? So there's losing productive hours. And then there's financial cost of the resources, maybe travel, and so on, right? Then there's logistics. If you're having offsites, it does take a bit of time to schedule rooms and coordinate calendars and meals and make sure, travel time and all that kind of stuff. And even the planning itself becomes cost in time because it just takes a while. Third is value. You think about this. Are people adding value? Are they contributing? Are they going to get benefits from being in the meeting, or are they going to add value? And you really don't want those passive participants without a clear role because, again, the cost probably doesn't outweigh the value. And then finally is the chaos that I talked about. The more opinions in meetings means more debate, more noise, more tangents, more one-offs, and less clarity. And then the meeting gets derailed, and you don't meet the accomplished goals. If you've planned several offsites or long meetings, you also know people rarely get to the agenda. We rarely finish because we're just all over the place. So let's think about the approach. If you remember the three little bears, they went in and one porridge was too hot and one was too cold and one was just right. So I think it's the same thing with meetings. So the too hot means too many people in meetings. And as we know, the conversation becomes chaotic. You can't really achieve the objective, or it becomes way harder because people are all over the place. Other people just disengage altogether. The meetings feel unfocused. We talked about all the kind of cost it has, both in time and resources and opportunity cost, and outcomes suffer. You don't necessarily get what you want done because you're derailed. The too cold is the exact opposite. Well, you're probably missing expertise and don't have the right amount of dialogue, so therefore it's hard to make informed decisions, which probably means there's more follow-up meetings, which again gets to time and cost. The feeling is unproductive. There's rework oftentimes for people who weren't there who disagreed later, and you got to go back and revisit it. I talked about more follow-ups, and then the outcomes suffer. So the just right is a balanced set of people. There's enough voices for the meaningful debate, but not too many. Attendees have clear roles and contributions, right? They're actually part of the conversation, no spectators. Therefore, you have an efficient discussion, which allows decisions to be easier made, and ideally, your outcomes are achieved. So you look, just a little bit of fun and a fun way to think about meetings, but the size does directly impact the cost and the outcomes. As I talked about, understaffed means you don't have the right people in there. There's rework. You can't really get your decisions in an informed way. Whereas overstaffed is just chaos, right? Tangents are all over the place, let alone the fact that it adds significant cost. So you want to aim for the smallest group, but with the right amount of expertise, and only include those people who contribute to the decisions. And this is going to require judgment and a little bit of experience, but just right means maximizing productivity, clarity, and value. And hopefully this video was just right in terms of length of time and value add for your listening. Thanks for watching.